that is more accurate than this. So if we're measuring certain things, so we can measure height, we can measure weight, but there's another measurement which is even more accurate. You want to know what that measurement is?
No.
And hey, I'm not even finished yet. And being able to see things and call things out in clients that no one else can see. Would that be helpful? Right? So who here hasn't read The Ultimate Coach or The Ultimate Coach Concentrated? Okay, so everyone's read one of the books. So in the book, it talks about how Steve treats the words that people speak like blocks of wood. Right? And so some of you have experienced this, who've had a conversation with Steve. He'll see things that no one else will see. And people are like, oh, it's like magic, it's a superpower, it's like, this is a Steve thing. Would you all like to have that Steve thing?
Yes, please.
Right? Because you can all have that. Okay? So, who's willing to share their vital statistics? Height, weight, size, length, yeah. Okay, so we've got E, right? So height, 189 centimeters. Okay, what's your weight? Okay, and we can cover more. We could talk about your waist circumference. You could talk about your chest. We could talk about other things. Now, how accurate do you think that is? Yeah. Yeah. Right. So there's another thing that is more accurate than this. So if we're measuring certain things, so we can measure height, we can measure weight, but there's another measurement which is even more accurate. You want to know what that measurement is? Being. Right? So there is a being. Now, everyone has a being, everyone has a way of being. And what we're talking about is calibrating. So if Igor steps on a set of scales and they're not calibrated, they're going to give us the wrong measurement. So we're talking about calibrating yourself to be able to measure or assess people's being. Right? Would that be useful? Okay. So I'm going to give you some clues to this. This isn't a how-to, but I'm going to give you a direction that will start making this more visible to you. Okay. Now, who here, just show your hands, who here has a document? Okay. Who here doesn't have a document? Incorrect. Okay. Who has a document? Everybody. Right? So, when I say document, now I say this, when I mean document, I mean self-image. Okay? So, what does that mean? I'm just saying that this thing that's over here has some thoughts about what this thing is that is over here. That's what I'm saying. So don't get caught up around self or this or that. Don't get caught up in the words, right? So every single person that you meet has some of that going on, and most of it is unconscious. Right? And it's through that lens that they're looking at the world. And when you start realizing this and you bring your best listening, as we've spoken about in the school, and you listen with your entire being, you will start hearing what some people's I am statements are, even though they don't say anything. Right? So there was a client of Steve Hardison's who had a statement of, I'm overlooked. That was what was going on for her. I'm overlooked. I'm always overlooked. I'm always overlooked. So now, as a guess, if someone had that, what behaviors, show of hands, what behaviors might they present in the world? Outrageously out there? They will be overlooked all the time. So I'm interested in behaviors. What would that look like? People pleasing, okay, right? Something else? Behaviors that look like underearning, correct. Over-focus on themselves, that could be one. Hiding in a social circle. Resentment, correct. Feeling like a victim, correct. Yeah, so what might that look like in how they're behaving, right? They're acting out that story. So you start seeing behaviors that give you clues to what people are really thinking about themselves, right? And language, I've been saying this for a long time, even before I started working with Hardison, your language betrays you. Your language betrays you. See, you all think you're good bullshitters, right? No, your language betrays you. If you speak for long enough, you won't be able to help it. Your language will give away what you read. How many times have I picked people up in the school around things they've said? And believe me, I'm only doing it about 50% of the time. Really, because otherwise that's all we would do the whole school. There are so many times where I don't pick it up because the conversation moves on. So our language is constantly giving away how we're seeing ourselves and how we're seeing other people. I've told this story already, but I want you to hear it again now that we're talking about this. So I signed up a client recently, and this guy is not a coach, he's a CEO, and he was referred to me. So we have a conversation, and he's kind of skeptical. He's kind of skeptical at coaches, but he's interested. And so he's talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes into the conversation. And I say to him, look, let's just cut to the chase, right? Would you like me to tell you who you are? And I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be very accurate. And you're going to turn around and go, how the hell do you know that? And he goes, okay. And I said, you're really, really successful, and it never feels like enough. I was right. How could I tell that? Anyone take a guess?
His language.
From his language. Anyone want to guess what his language might have been?
It was
How
nothing.
successful he was.
Yeah, he kept telling about how successful he was.
Not certain. Mostly about himself.
It was like overcompensating. And in his tone and the energy, I could tell like he's trying to hey, I'm a really successful guy. So it kind of gave away to me like, you're trying to like really convince me, look how successful you are, but you're trying to convince yourself, and it's not enough. And I was right. And I said a bunch of other things, I can't even remember them all, and it was exactly as I said. He was like, how the hell do you know that? And we'd only spoken for 5 minutes, and I went boom, 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 boom. Guess who else can do that? Everyone. If you bring your best listening into a conversation with someone, you will hear this. You will hear this. Now, there's a calibration to take place. Because if I go around saying to everyone, hey, let me tell you what's going on, it's often too much for people. So it's not about like me proving, hey, I can see stuff all the time, but it's the skill, if you like, of coaching is like, how can I communicate that across to someone where they can actually hear it because I want to help them. And it's all tied in with everything we've been speaking about this weekend about coming from love. So it's not a criticism, it's not a judgment. right? So let's play around with this some more. Let's get some examples. How, if somebody had some, like one thing that people have around money, right? A being that people have around money is earning too much is bad. You know, like there's this quite a common thing. Earning too much money is bad. It's wrong, it's not spiritual or something, right? They have this money ceiling. I'm sure that doesn't apply to anyone here, but some people have that. What are some of the things in language that might give away people have that way of being? Have you ever spoken to someone who speaks with a lot of judgment around people who have money? Guess what they're saying? Right? They're saying it's bad to have a lot. It's not complicated. People are giving us all the information you would ever need. One thing Steve would say to me when I would have a coaching session with him, he goes, so tell me what's going on in your life. This was like my first ever session, my behaviour session. And I'm like, I talk for 10 minutes, have this conversation, and then Steve's like listening, and then he'll say, I got enough to coach you for a year. Right, you guys have that experience? He said that to you? And I'm thinking, like, what? What the hell did I say? I now say the same thing to people, not because I'm trying to copy him. It's like people will be giving you everything. You will hear their self-image come out without them even trying. These are just pieces, by the way. Just giving you little pieces to this. If you have a client or a prospect who's judging someone else in the conversation, and this comes up, right? What are they saying? They're telling you everything they judge themselves about. But only always. So if they're judging their spouse for not being supportive, guess what they're also doing? Judging themselves for not being a supportive spouse. It's not rocket science. And you can test this, by the way. And if you want to gently test it, you can ask them a question. I'm curious, how would you rate yourself in terms of being supportive to your spouse? And then watch the look of horror on their face. Now, if you want to go a little gently with this, right? You could ask someone like that, hey, tell me more. Right? And they'll give you so much, because you don't have to just take it on one sentence. Like, they'll give you, oh, it's this, and old white men are like this, and this is how the world works, and right? And they'll give you all of this stuff. And then you can turn around and say, I could coach you for a year on that. Play around with this, and like I said, test it. And it will increase the impact of the work you do, exponentially. And by the way, this is true for leadership. It's true for anyone that you meet.